One word I haven't really talked about in the world of computing that is extremely important is events. Everything that we've done so far is event driven. For example, when I hit run, I'm going to move when I hit a key. So on the event that I hit the left button, I move. When I hit the right button, I move. When I hit the spacebar, that's an event, and when that event occurs, a bullet is fired. On the event that the bullet hits a snake, the snake goes away. This is event-driven programming, and it's lots of fun. But not everything I do is, you know, driven by the keyboard and the user. There's some stuff that I want to happen automatically, and you're kind of seeing that with the snakes, the enemies moving back and forth. We're not controlling that with keys, but we can go further than this. And one way we do this is we use a timer. We made the bullet class, we made the enemy class, we made the hero class, but in all those cases we really just extended what the people at Greenfoot did, and we made a new subclass of actor. And up here, once we make a new world, we're going to make new worlds by extending that. There's also a class that we can import that's basically like a pre-made library. And there's a few of them. You can see them here. We're going to use a couple of these, but right now what I want to do is I want to use the timer. And a timer is used in almost any video game I can think of. But we've been talking a lot about Super Mario. So for example, when Mario starts a level, he has 300 seconds to get it done. And a timer ticks in the corner of the screen, and you can see exactly how much time is left. So a timer is running all the time in Mario, and it's showing you the value on the screen. We're going to use a timer not to show a value on the screen yet, but we are going to use a timer to limit the amount of bullets we shoot when we hit the spacebar. So down here you can see that SimpleTimer is now here. Now why is SimpleTimer here and not up here with the rest of them? And the answer is because a SimpleTimer is not an actor that we put on the screen. It's not a world. It's something entirely different. So when I double click on SimpleTimer, notice that it just says class SimpleTimer, whereas my world says class myWorld extends world, and hero extends the actor, and enemy extends the actor. SimpleTimer, it's just its own class that we can use in our game. Now the interesting thing is that this is a pre-made library, and we're allowed to go in here and alter stuff, but we don't want to. So leave this alone. I opened it so you could take a look, but and I mean, you should read through it if you want to, because basically it's going to what you're seeing right here is what I'm going to do. But don't change the code in the SimpleTimer. That would be, like me buying a new engine for my car and then deciding to open up the engine and tinker around, and I do not want to do that. I just want to use the engine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my hero. And a lot of people think that they're going to go to the bullet if they want to limit the bullet shooting, but the bullet isn't shot in the bullet class. The bullet is shot right here in the hero class when spacebar is hit. And what we're going to do is similar to how we did a variable. Right here in this white space, right beneath hero, I am going to make a new SimpleTimer object. And I'll explain in 1 second. We're going to call it shot timer. So what I'm doing with this line of code, think of it this way. I am essentially giving the hero a stopwatch. I'm giving the hero a timer which acts like a stopwatch. It's called shot timer. So this means every hero that we create, which we're only going to have one, gets a timer. And in the act method, we're going to use the timer. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, all right, this is where we shoot, but right now we're allowed to shoot anytime we hit the spacebar. So what that means is that I can hold down the spacebar and just spray the area and game over. And that's not quite what we want here. It makes it easier, but it's not what we want. So I'm going to have a couple of conditions. So in the last video we learned that this meant or. Well, this means and. So I need a couple of conditions to be satisfied if a shot is to get fired. Not only is someone going to have to hold down the spacebar, but also that shot timer that we made, well, it keeps track of the milliseconds elapsed. I just hit Control Space to make that come up. So I type shot timer because that's what I named my timer, and I want to know how many milliseconds have elapsed. If over, let's say, I don't know, 250 milliseconds have elapsed, then I want to be able to shoot. So if I click here, notice that class compiled, it works. That's great. So I'm going to hit the spacebar, and I'm going to check to see if 250 milliseconds have elapsed from the shot timer. If they have, then I'll shoot a bullet, and right away I want to take that shot timer and reset it. And the way we reset is we mark. That's the method to say, hey, let's restart the shot timer, set it back to 0. All right, let's see what we got. So I'm going to run it, and I hit spacebar, and notice only one of them came out. So I'm going to hold spacebar down now so you can see that is what 250 milliseconds looks like. And now I have a functioning shot timer. If I were to go back to the hero and replace this with 500, then you can probably imagine what's going to happen, but that means the delay on my timer will be more. So that's half a second, because 500 milliseconds is half of 1 second. Now, I'm going to start doing a little bit of coding, I guess, a better coding design. I put a 500 here, and that's going to work. However, this is a better way to do it. I'm going to make a variable up here called int shot interval equals, and I like the 250, so I'm going to make 250. And then I'm going to put that there. And if you're thinking, well, why did you do that? Because it's really just going to do the same thing, isn't it? And you're making a variable, it's kind of confusing. Well, it's for readability. If someone goes down here and reads this, if they say, okay, shot timer millilapse greater than shot interval, they know what this number is. If I had a 500 here, they might not know why I had a 500 or a 250, but if I call it shot interval, they can pretty much theorize that is going to be the interval on which we can shoot. It's the exact same thing here. I have a 5 here, 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 and here. Well, maybe it would be smarter to go int move. Oh my goodness. Move val equals 5. And then everywhere I have a 5, maybe I put move val in those spots. And then the other thing that's nice about that is if I decide, you know what, I want to move my player faster, I just have to change one value. I can change that to an 8, and then my player would be moving 8 pixels at a time. Or I could, choose a 3 and they'd be moving slower. I like the 5, so I'm going to leave it at 5. But so now if you look here, I've got some code where all of the values, shot interval, move val, they make sense. Oh, move value makes sense, shot interval makes sense. So it's better for readability. So just a good habit to get into. And along those lines, we could do the exact same thing here. So that would be the move value of the bullet, and I could do the same thing. And if you're thinking, wait a minute, you already used move val. I did, but this move val here is in the bullet, so it's an entirely different variable. So I would do something like that. And in the enemy, oh, I did it in the enemy already when I did the X move. Now here, I'm not going to replace these yet because I'm going to do something different with those, but you get the idea. Anywhere you can use variables to make your code look a little bit smarter, better, it's good to do so. So we are now at the point where we have a game where the shots have a timer, snakes are moving. Next up, we'll have the snakes start shooting back.